It is the Savage Nation. I can't guarantee I'm going to excite you tonight. In fact, I suspect I'm not going to excite you tonight because I think the excitement that I gave you over the last few days and weeks is enough for a while. And I'm not going to burn myself out in a society of dead people. It's the night of the living dead in America. And I don't know what else to say to you. You've got a scandal bigger than Watergate where people died. And they give each other awards for being great Americans, sounding like Wallbanger and one of his cohorts. I mean, the only other people who call themselves great Americans are in talk radio. I never heard anything like this. And yet today, by the way, I mean, we all love our military guys, the real ones, not the fake ones in the Pentagon. The combat veterans, the combat fighters, we actually love them to death. We know they're the only thing between us and the Islamization of the entire world. Just as we know the street cop is the only thing between us and the animals that patrol that stroll around in the streets. The actual cops on the street are the Irish wolfhounds, as it were, to protect us from the wolves. And we know that. Not the political chiefs, not the political captains, etc. And it's the same in the military. And yet today, after what's gone on in Benghazi, where people were killed and Obama got away with it, skated because of the media, no other reason. I mean, they tried to have a hearing. Can you imagine if it was a Republican president and there were deaths of an ambassador and others, what would have happened? Do you think the jihadists on the left would have stopped for 1 second? Their holy war, their jihad of socialism / communism / anarchism / anyism, as long as it's anti-Americanism, would it have stopped? It never would have stopped. So it came and went, and they had their hack comedians tell dirty jokes about it. The little guys who would have, in the Holocaust, even though they are of Jewish descent, some of these comedians. You want me to name them? You want me to get into it? I don't care what the ADL says. They can go to hell as far as I'm concerned. Some of them are the types that would have played clowns bringing children into the death chambers to stay alive another day. That's the type that we have now on television. So I said it. What do I care what you think of me? So today there's a press conference that's so heartbreaking. And I don't want to do a dirge. I could play taps and make you cry. I could start to scream and yell, but I'm not going to do it. There was a press conference called the Navy SEAL Team 6 press conference. And what was it about? These are the parents of the Navy SEALs who were assassinated by the U.S. military in a so-called mission over Afghanistan, but many of us believe they were sent to their deaths by someone or some elements within the Obama administration. Some of the elements, some of the Islamist elements killed them. And I've been screaming about this for 2 years. In fact, I was so moved by the deaths of those SEALs in that helicopter in Afghanistan that I wrote about it in my book, Trickle Down Tyranny, pages 164, 166. And the entire introduction to A Time for War, in fact, the entire novel, is about this. The opening chapter is about the Navy SEAL mission that went down in flames and how it happened, fictionalized in A Time for War. The book went nowhere because the fraudulent conservatives in the media wouldn't talk about the book because they're jealous of me and they're afraid of me. I wouldn't expect the left wing to talk about it. But I'm going to talk about the issue tonight because there was a meeting today, I should say a hearing at the press club, National Press Club, of the parents of the SEALs who were sent to their deaths by elements within the Obama administration. And every once in a while, a voice appears that cuts through it all. As Hemingway said, the truth has a certain ring to it. I want you to listen to the father of, don't play it till I say play it. Aaron Vaughn, he has a name. He was a Navy SEAL. He was sent to his death by elements within the Obama administration who put him on an old Chinook helicopter to die. Oh, yes. I knew that. I saw that. I'm not the only one who saw it. You know who else saw it? His mother and father whose hearts were broken. Billy Vaughn spoke today about his dead son, Aaron Vaughn. And when you listen to this American man, when you hear the voice of Billy Vaughn, you'll hear the voice of an American man, the type of American who produces a Navy SEAL. Listen to clip 1.
When Aaron was a SEAL, he said, "Dad, you won't believe the choppers we fly in. They're like nothing I've ever seen." But do you know what? My son wasn't on that chopper that night. You know why? Because President Barack Obama had increased the special op missions from August of 2010 until July of 2011, 1 month before the shootdown of Extortion 17, the number of spec-op missions in Afghanistan, according to our military, was an average of 334 per month.
So Obama put the special ops into 334 missions a month, running down their equipment and running down the men. That's number one. You just learned that today at the national press conference that nobody covered. In fact, my producer went on to YouTube, and he said only 400 people had viewed it. I guess they were interested in which skirt fell up over which Sunset Boulevard slut on which street today, or whether the boy killer is found guilty and she's going to be executed. But let's go on to the next point that Billy Vaughn brought up today, because I'm going to do it whether 400 people listen, 400,000, I don't care how many listen, because this will be archived. I want you to now this went on today. National Press Club Conference, Navy SEAL Team 6 families reveal government's culpability in death of their sons. Not the laughing comedians who are not married and have no children. No, not them. Not those comedians. Not the left-wing jihadists in Hollywood. No, the sons of the real Americans died. Listen to clip 3.
47 that night with guns blazing, and they'd been shot out of the sky. It'd be a whole lot easier to live with. Admiral Harward made the statement to the grieving families at the debriefing that day. We want to win the hearts and minds of the enemy. Aaron Vaughn did not become a Navy SEAL Team 6 Gold Squad to win the hearts and the minds of the Islamic jihadists. He became a Navy SEAL to fight for this republic and defeat the enemy. And I'll tell you right now, any American flag officer who does not want to defeat the enemy needs to find another job.
God in heaven, you're listening to the voice of a real American, as opposed to someone who has gone over to the other side, either by birth, genetics, or by insanity. Now it gets even worse. Listen to clip 4.
Mr. Obama, President Obama, you need to step up or step down. You must step up and defend our warriors. You must step up and show the outrage that you have shown when the religion of Islam is disrespected. You must step up and defend our warriors. President Obama, your silence will be your consent. I tell you today, we have sheep and wolves in high places, and they are getting our sheepdogs killed unnecessarily.
Oh, my God. Well, now, if that's not enough for you people listening to the Savage Nation across America, we'll conclude with the last clip today of Mr. Vaughn in 5.
What difference does it make at this point? I'll tell you what difference it makes. Men and women all over the world, in places where our men have shed their blood for this republic, are not living under communism today. World War I and World War II, hundreds of thousands of Americans went abroad and around the world to fight for freedom. What difference at this point does it make? Because Europe, Japan, and many places in Asia are free today because Americans have shed their blood, Mrs. Clinton.
Yeah. Now, of course, let's tie this in to the Boston bombing by the Islamists who were working in a cell. This has been covered up again by the FBI. Came out today. They didn't share any of their information about the bombers going to the Krapistan nation they came from to get training. The FBI, the Federal Bureau of Islamization, is what some are calling it. That's the new FBI, the Federal Bureau of Islamization, did not share that information with the Boston police. And so people are starting to scream out there. But the fact of the matter is, you heard today from Mr. Vaughn that they sent his son to die. You heard today that they were sent into battle in an old helicopter. You heard today on the Savage Nation that they were told not to fire back at the enemy because they want to win the hearts and minds of the terrorists. You heard today that the denial of request for pre-assault fire may have contributed to the death of these men and the shoot-down of the helicopter. You heard today how Afghan forces accompanying the Navy SEAL Team 6 servicemen on the helicopter were not properly vetted, and how they, the Afghanis on the helicopter, possibly Mr. Obama, disclosed classified information to the Taliban about the mission resulting in the shoot-down of that helicopter. And today you learn how military brass having everything brass except what counts between their legs, who prohibited any mention of a Judeo-Christian God, invited a Muslim cleric to the funeral of the fallen Navy SEAL Team 6 heroes who disparaged in Arabic at their funerals the memory of these servicemen by damning them as infidels to Allah. You heard me, didn't you? That's what your Muslim president did to them. You don't know any of this because you're too busy laughing. You're laughing all the way to your own demise. That's right. That is right. The military brass invited a Muslim cleric to the funeral for the fallen Navy SEAL Team 6 heroes, and at the funeral, he disparaged them in Arabic. He called them infidels to Allah. A video of the Muslim cleric's so-called prayer was shown with a certified translation today. Did you hear any of that? You didn't hear any of that. You didn't hear any of that. So as I said to you, I'm not going to get angry because what's the point? Yesterday I disclosed that 3 generals and 1 admiral were dismissed by Obama shortly after the Benghazi cover-up in order to keep it covered up because they apparently said that they're going to testify. They know what happened. General Ralph Baker, General William Kip Ward, Rear Admiral Charles Gouet, and General Carter Ham were thrown out by Obama because they wanted to come forward with the truth. 2 of them wanted to come forward to assist the beleaguered U.S. missions in Benghazi. So, again, I'm going to have to read you something to confirm what I'm saying to you that has nothing to do with what I just read to you, which came to me today from a leading person who publishes articles about the radio industry. He said, Michael Savage, I love the warning you gave us on the show this week about how U.S. citizens should not react to Obama with violence, because that's exactly what Napolitano and Obama are trying to spark. And if they do react violently, the clampdown from the Obamaites will follow via their billion bullets and armored vehicles. You tell the truth, Savage, without anger like some in the media. You have a humorous approach that doesn't wear on the nerves, and you don't limit yourself to strict partisan politics. That came to me from someone in the industry. I'm not asking for your support. I'm just telling you that we're living in very bad times right now.